Well, I came down to the track today. It was cold, muddy. Steve was here today. Now, Steve bought Stacy Hanover, so he was coming to look at Stacy Hanover. You're going to breed her to green shoe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, green shoe and Stacy, we'll be looking out for that foal. You don't have any yearlings with us this year, do you? Thank God I did a bad job.
Pete.
Oh, Sweet on Pete, right. Did a terrible job by me. So I had my top 10 list. I told Steve I got one video left. Top 10 list every week. So I wanted to show Steve how I did my list. I go through everybody that trained yesterday. I'm trying to critique them as much as I can and be fair, because I know it's going to be a long list. I have to whittle it down to 10. What did I say, 17? 17 I started with. 17 horses I thought were awesome yesterday, and I whittled them down to 10. Now, this list was a little easier this week. Bomb Hugger was like fourth. I can't put her on a top 10 list for yesterday, even though you know how I feel about Bomb Hugger. Will to Win Hanover was third or fourth. She was awesome, but again, third or fourth. It's yesterday's list. I can't do it. Eyes of 10 didn't train yesterday, so there's 3 right off the list. I can pitch, right? Rosie's Masterpiece made a break. Renegade Gypsy made a break. Got to pitch those horses for yesterday. Spent made a break. And these are all horses that never run, so I don't really care. I'm not really worried about it. The ones that kind of bugged me, I had to pull off the list. I said Will to Win. Rose above it was third or fourth. Has been fantastic for the last month or more. Mischievous Rose was very, very good again. I didn't put her on my list. As I said, Bomb Hugger. Hill of Magic was very good yesterday. You only got to see her for a second, but this is a filly that wears aluminum shoes, aluminum tipped flip-flops up front, and hobbles. And James looked at me and says, she doesn't need the hobbles on Wednesday. I was shocked when he said that, but man, she's really come forward. You know, this is a filly, so I was telling you about OCDs. We took the OCD out of her maybe 5 weeks ago. 2 weeks in the stall, 1 week walking on the track, because it's kind of winter. Who's going to hand walk a horse in this? So they literally walked her though, walked her on the track for 2 days, 1 lap, which would be half a mile. For the rest of the week, 2 laps, a full mile. And then we went back to jogging. Now, a week of jogging on the 4th week. 5th week we trained her, so this must be the 6th week. This was her 2nd full week of training. And the first day she trained great. She made a break in the turn on the drone the other day, so this was her 3rd training trip back. 4th, James went with her Wednesday, said she was good. He went with her on Saturday, said, man, this is a nice filly. I don't think she needs the hobbles anymore. I can't wait to see her train without the hobbles on Wednesday. But finished 2nd or 3rd, didn't make the list. Luck of the Dragon was 2nd in the pacing set. I didn't put him on the list. I'll tell you why in a minute. So I'm going to get to my top 10 list. There's at least one horse on this list. I can't believe I wrote his name down. But I had to. If you guys were here, you know what I was talking about. This horse has been horrible since day one. First thing, he had some lameness issues, some maturity issues. Then he was sick. We turned him out because he was sick. We brought him back. Still has discharge. That may cost him this summer. But, man, for a horse that has been on his best day mediocre, he was very good yesterday. Procrastinator. I've been, thinking to myself, we'll get him to 220, 210, and then probably turn him out for a few months, let his immune system really come back on its own, and hopefully towards the end of his 2-year-old season, we'll race him a bit, and he'll be a good 3-year-old. That in my mind, that was kind of the very soft, unpaved path that I was thinking. If I don't come hard with Twinkle in Her Eye yesterday, I think he parks me. Greg Wade was going with it. I couldn't believe it. He cleared to the front, and as he moved him to the front, I look at James, and James looks at me. We're sitting 4th and 5th. I said, where's Greg going? He's on a mission today. Puts Procrastinator up in the front. This horse been nowhere near the front ever in his life. Training ever. And when I came with Twinkle and Rye hard at the court, I had to come hard to get around him. This horse surprised the hell out of me yesterday. He deserved to be on the top 10 list. He is the opposite of consistent. Has never been good. I could have put Mischievous Rose, Bomb Hugger, Hill of Magic, Luck of the Dragon, Will to Win Hanover, Rose above it. I could have easily made an argument to put these horses on ahead of Procrastinator, but the way he trained yesterday, I simply couldn't do that. He was just that good. He was very good yesterday. So number 10, Procrastinator. Good for him. Number 9, 1-2 Skip a Few. We're going to have her up to the vet. I said to James after, when she's at top speed, she looks great, but she's so tight through her hamstring. She tied up real bad 3 weeks ago, like real bad. And she's been working through it. She won her training set the drone day the other day. She won her set yesterday. But for the first mile and a half you're on the track, she's skippy. Skip. 1, 2, skip a few. She's exactly like her name until she's at high speed. So I want to take her to the vet. Just make sure we're not... It's easy for me to say she tied up. Want to make sure there's not something else lingering there. I don't think there is, but we're going to find out this week. So 1, 2, skip a few. Won her set yesterday, 2:24. Looked fantastic, but want to get her looked at by the vet. Number 8, about time this guy started jumping onto the list. 3 Point Blue Chip. This is like 4 miles in a row. He stayed trotting with the hobbles on. Has looked great. Now, he did make a break on Wednesday. He got jammed a bit, and it was his first time without hobbles on in a month. So I'm not really going to count that. He had the hobbles on yesterday. James said, different horse. We got all the weight off him, changed his shoes, got the corks off him, and he's been improving every week since. Mentally, still a lot of work to do there, but tons of time. And as you said, we didn't buy him to race strictly in the New Jersey Sire Stakes. We haven't paid into everything. There's no rush with this guy. I'm just so happy to hear James talking favorably about him. He was very impressed with him yesterday. I was very impressed with him yesterday. Now I start to see, and we always talk about how the pedigree will bubble up eventually. We saw the start of what we actually purchased yesterday with 3 Point Blue Chip. Number 7, and she could have been way higher on the list. Johnny has her looking good. Purple Aura. Now, somebody had said to me in the video the other day, oh, she looks so rough going slow. Well, the good news is they don't pay you to go slow. They pay you to go fast. And, yeah, she might look a little rickety. This filly's massive now, really tall. She's probably just going through a pretty big growth spurt. But when you put her in gear, flawless. No hobbles, no nothing. Johnny was flying on the end of the mile yesterday. I believe that's the mile I won. I don't want to say the horse's name because he's higher on the list. But a big mile. Big mile from her. She is really, really starting to turn it on. Really like what I've seen from Purple Aura. Number 6, Twinkle in Her Eye. She's been a long time waiting to get on the list also. We have her up in the top barn now. And Amy went with her on Wednesday and said, Amy just picking at her. And, she's just dawdling, right? So when I went on the track today, I hit her a little snap on the tail. Yesterday, I hit her a snap on the tail and let her know, hey, it's not, his daddy's here. So when I turned her to go her mile, there was no dawdling. When I moved her to get around Procrastinator, and if I don't get around Procrastinator and slam the brakes on, Greg has us in a bit of a mathematical quandary, as we would have been over the half in about 12. So I was happy to get her to the front, put the brakes on, and then finished up her mile very strong. Amy said, what did she do when she came out of the turn? Because she kind of just let the bit drop out of her mouth coming out of the turn on Wednesday, and she didn't finish up her mile awesome. She finished up, but not like, wow, she looked good. Again, I dropped the hammer coming out of the turn, and she took off and opened up 2 lengths. She looked very, very good. This is the filly we've been waiting to see also. A lot of horses coming out this week. Procrastinator, 3 Point Blue Chip, now Twinkle in Her Eye. All 3 of those horses, questions looming around them for a while, but man, oh man, did Twinkle in Her Eye look good on side. I made a joke. I said that Ron, so Ron, the older guy, you must have seen him, works for Mario. He looks like he's like 200 years old. Nice man. Anyway, I said he was smiling from ear to ear. I could see both his teeth and a smile. I'm always joking with Ron, but Ron was really pumped about Twinkle in Her Eye. She looked very, very good yesterday. So a great job all around on Twinkle in Her Eye. Now, we had a couple of young ladies start this week. Like a 15-year-old girl started on Saturday. So one of the girls we had working for us can't work on Saturdays. So obviously Saturday's a big day for us. So it's a little cumbersome. And she hired one of her riding horse friends that's in school to come on Saturdays. Man, this girl is a workhorse. I can't remember her name, but man, oh man, she, every time I looked, she was pulsing horses up and working. She's a worker. And then we hired another young lady on the other side, Shelby. She cooked a bunch of sweets for everybody, and then as we're leaving, made me feel bad. As we're leaving, she had come in with 2 big pizzas for everyone. She's a caretaker. She works here. So thank you to Shelby for bringing in the sweets, because James he's big now. So James huffed about 2 or 3 of those into his face. And then the pizza we mowed into Gino's pretty good. It was a great day of training, and then obviously Shelby didn't need to do that, but man, oh man, that was a very nice gesture, and both those girls are very hard workers, so we're very lucky to have them amongst us, and one of them takes care of Twinkle in her eye, so that's why I mentioned it. Number 5, Matt's MVP. I mention this horse all the time. A lot of people saying home. Where do you live? What state do you live in again? The state of? Can't believe you forgot.
Missouri.
The show me state, as Steve put it. I laughed hard that day. You said that to me, and I love saying it. Matt's MVP, every time the drone flies, he's terrible. And everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with Matt? He's so terrible. We changed his shoes, changed his equipment. I went out yesterday, and I come off the track, and Johnny and James are there. I said, this thing is a beast. Holy Jesus, it can trot. They said, well, I told you it could. I went with him on Wednesday. I thought he was adequate. He did his work. I got him around. He did his work. We changed his shoes Thursday morning. I put him in gear starting here, and I almost pulled him off stride, slowing him down getting into the last turn. He was trotting so hard. He'd open up like 5 lengths on them, and he finished up strong again. He is a nice horse, and you're going to have to take my word for it. What I saw on Saturday is what James and Johnny have been telling me for a while. Matt's MVP is no joke, and he can really, really rock. I'd love to see him. It's 2 weeks in a row now, 2 sets in a row, Wednesday, Saturday, flawless sets, did his work. I'd like to see him build on that. Obviously, I'm hoping for Wednesday him being good, and then following that up with what seems like his first ever, good drone set. That's what we're aiming for this week. But man, he looks so good yesterday. Keep an eye on the top 4. I'm about to tell you, these horses are no joke, and every one of these 4 were flying yesterday. Massive Profit continues to accelerate forward. What I mean by that is, I'm always protective of him. The last 2 weeks, I've been just very, putting him up into position. Yeah, he won the set or was second, but I never put him in a position to make a break. And I didn't again yesterday, but when he powers through before you had to watch him in the turns, we wore hobbles on this horse, training down, tons of weight on him, took all the weight off, took all the hobbles off, took everything off him. He wears a Murphy blind on the left and a set of trotting boots behind. That's it. And I don't put him in a place to make a break, but he seems like he's getting more confident, more almost cocky in the turns. He powered through the last turn like it was a straightaway yesterday, and I had him wrapped up. He was good. Johnny was coming to me with Purple Aura, but man, oh man, Massive Profit was exceptionally good yesterday. Very, very, very impressed with this horse. Number 3 is a horse that is pretty controversial. James and Amy don't really like Of Tom. They don't like her, but she's a big giraffe. I put her on the front yesterday. I actually went a mile in 2:22. James told me I went in 2:19, which is incorrect. I went in 2:22 with her. She was very, very strong and very good. A couple of horses. How frustrating is it when you drop your phone? What's worse is when you drop your phone in between the seats. I just want to pull over on the side of the road and light the vehicle on fire every time I drop the phone in between the middle part and the seat. There's nothing more frustrating than that. If you're out there and you design cars, can you just do something so you can't drop the phone in between the seat and the center console? Oh my God almighty, I want to junk it every time it happens. Number 3, Of Tom, was exceptional yesterday. This filly can't sprint hard on the end of it because she's not built to sprint hard on the end of it. She's a giraffe. But I'm trying to get her into a position where she gets to the head of lane and accelerates. Massive Profit does it. Bomb Hugger does it. All these horses that could have made the list or are on the list, they all can do it. She struggles with it. So she's more of she sails along without that, jump in her step coming out of the last turn. It doesn't matter. She's going to be, I don't care if James doesn't like her or Amy's frustrated with her, she's going to be a stake filly. She is fast enough, she's strong enough, she enjoys her work on the track, and she understands her work on the track. Those qualities alone will ensure she's an effective racehorse in 2021. But she was awesome yesterday. Number 2 may surprise you. I know it won't surprise Johnny and anybody else that's gone with her. Arches Rainbow showed me something I had never seen in this filly before yesterday. Johnny told me she could fly, she was fast. He's not joking around. She can smoke. I put her in gear down, coming to the half, cleared off the lead, shut her down, started her back up in the last turn, and wrapped her up going under the wire. This filly was awesome yesterday. This is an Ontario-bred filly. She's an Archangel, first foal out of a Muscle Hill mare, and she looked incredible yesterday. Shelby, who takes care of her? The girl I was telling you about that filled in yesterday was taking care of her. I think Donnie, I still don't know her name. Donnie usually takes care of her also, I believe. She was awesome yesterday. They got her looking good. She seems sound, fit, and very, very fiery. I like everything about Arches Rainbow. I put her ahead of some really, really talented horses. What I saw yesterday is a filly. The sky is the limit for this filly, and she really, really showed a lot of pop yesterday. Number one, been a while since my boy made number one. Voyage of Ice and Fire. So Wednesday, Amy went with Voyage of Ice and Fire, and Voyage of Ice and Fire is a stud, but he's kind of a loafer, right? He never gets too worked up about anything, much like me sometimes. Never gets too worked up about anything. But when you put him in gear, he'll go all day. So he is a lot like me. Yeah. So she went with him on Wednesday and moved her. But he does shy away from whips and things. He sees everything, so we've been jogging him with an open bridle on. Put the closed bridle back on him yesterday. And I needed a horse in the pace division. I didn't want to put Twinkle in Her Eye in against Luck of the Dragon and them. And I don't go with those other horses. So I was looking for a drive for me in the pace set. Almost There Boss is off this week, castrated. Twinkle I didn't want to shove into that bunch. Confederate Cruiser can't go in with them. So who did I have? I put Voyage of Ice and Fire up in with the best pacers we have. I put him right on the front. He'd over the half in 17. I went a mile in 22, maybe 16, 22, and he was flying on the end of it. Luck of the Dragon came to me, and my wheel is as far as he got. Voyage of Ice and Fire shed them all yesterday. He was incredible. James was a little upset pulling up with me. I talked about it in the opening. If you see the opening, it'll give you a reference to what I'm saying right now. But Voyage of Ice and Fire is legit. He's a nice colt. I say that he's legit because he hasn't really had any lameness issues. He seems to be getting better and stronger. He eats well. He's growing up. He's filling out. He's doing everything he should in a low stress way. You know, you can go out and jog him and the lines just dangle like a 5-year-old horse. He's just a sweetheart. But when you put him in gear and you stir him up, it's game time and he gets going. He was good yesterday. Luck of the Dragon has come to any of our pacers and buried them in the last turn coming out of the turn. Just blew right by them. No, not this horse yesterday. Old Dragon got as far as my wheel, and that was it. Now, I said, don't judge the pacers on a mile on March 27th on a half-mile track. You know, all these horses can go the same speed. So right now, pacer trotter, it doesn't really matter. That will change as we pour some real speed to them in June. But Voyage of Ice and Fire has been a really nice horse, has always shown signs of strength, speed, endurance, power, talent, pedigree. He's a brother to a horse that made $750,000. Second dam, there's one that made 400, and the third dam is one that made $500,000. His entire pedigree is full of money and speed, so it's not that shocking. He's got it going on. He's a nice horse, and if he stays the way he is right now, and there's no indications that he would change, he's been the same all along. If he can continue on this trajectory, we could have a real special horse for Ohio in the colt division of trotters in 2021. So that is my top 10 list. I'll go through it one more time for those of you who have fallen asleep listening to me talk. Wake up. Number 10, Procrastinator. Belongs on the list. Did his work very well yesterday. Number 9, 1-2 Skip a Few. Number 8, 3 Point Blue Chip. I suspect you're going to see him climb the ladder from here on in. Number 7, Purple Aura. Number 6, Twinkle in Her Eye. Number 5, Matt's MVP. Number 4, Massive Profit. Number 3, My Girl of Tom. Number 2, Ontario bred Archangel filly, Arches Rainbow. And number 1, Voyage of Ice and Fire. Just going to give a quick scan here of how the breeds are in this top 10. We have an Ohio bred at number 10, an Ohio bred at number 9, New Jersey, 3 Point Blue Chip at number 8, Ohio, number 7, Ontario, number 6, Ohio, number 5, Indiana, number 4, Ohio, number 1 and 3, and Ontario in the middle. So as I said, you should probably come to Ohio for a week this summer, because we are going to have, by what looks like, and we can never tell, because you never can tell what everybody else's horses look like, but historically we've had a strong stable in Ohio. This feels like our strongest stable yet, so hopefully we have some luck moving forward in 2021 in Ohio. But that is my top 10 list for, what's the date? March 28th? 8th. March 28th, 2021. Take care.